Jerry, there's nothing wrong with your television set. This is a Pixie Bell. The sound is much too high for human ears. Oh, there you are, Dick. Well, get that stuff off of me. If you're familiar with the story of Peter Pan, you know that a little sprinkling of Tinkerbell's fairy dust can make you fly. Think. Wait a minute. Haven't you forgotten something? Aren't you going to take the audience along?
Come on, everybody. Here we go! Off to Neverland.
Fly away with us. Second star to the right and straight on till morning. And discover the behind-the-scenes story of how the timeless tale of Peter Pan was transformed into a soaring Disney classic.
But Peter, how did we get to Neverland?
The story of Peter Pan began its life on the London stage in 1904. It was written by Scottish novelist and playwright James Matthew Barrie.
Sir James Barrie was inspired. I guess he was visited by the muse when he created Peter Pan. It was just a marvelous idea. And the testament is the fact that it's lived all these years and had so many incarnations. He created something that I guess will be immortal.
In 1913, a touring company of Peter Pan was seen by this youngster in the small town of Marceline, Missouri. The boy was Walt Disney. He never forgot this epic of boyhood and its unique combination of fantasy and swashbuckling adventure. In 1924, Walt also saw a silent film version of Peter Pan, starring Betty Bronson as Peter. The film contained many innovations, such as a live actress playing Tinkerbell, and special effects that were the state-of-the-art for their day. The silent film, however, adhered to many of the conventions of the stage version of Peter Pan, including the stars rather obviously flying on wires. A performer in a dog suit as Nana, and a costumed actor as the crocodile. Walt Disney's efforts to make Peter Pan as an animated feature actually began in the late 1930s, during the production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, in an era when Disney's filmmaking imagination was at its peak.
Animation was in many ways the ideal medium for Peter Pan because it's a fantasy.
Walt Disney himself noted, "The cartoon method gave us many advantages over the stagecraft of Barrie's day, which no amount of pixie dust could cure."
Here for the first time was a medium where the imagination is limitless. Animation could do anything. You're so free to do things, to picture things, to show people things that you couldn't do on stage.
In 1939, Disney acquired the screen rights, and by early 1940, storyboards were begun. These never-before-seen watercolor illustrations by renowned British artist David Hall were part of Disney's initial work. Hall had also done extensive visual development of Alice in Wonderland for Disney in 1938. In this early version of the story, Nana traveled with Peter and the children to Neverland, as seen in these rare original story sketches. Much of the art created at this time was also darker than the original play, and far more sinister than a typical Disney epic.
Now, my dear princess, this is my proposition. You tell me the hiding place of Peter Pan, and I shall send you free. You talk. You better talk, my dear. This is the last chance, Tiger Lily. Here's your spirit. Give it to us, Captain. Good for the breast.
Tiger Lily.
Another part of this early work was an elaborate musical number for Captain Hook's pirate crew, which was ultimately replaced by a different song, The Elegant Captain Hook. An attempt to persuade the Lost Boys to join the pirates' ranks, this earlier song, written by studio music director Frank Churchill along with Ray Kelly, is reconstructed here using a rare song demo recording, coupled with never-before-seen storyboard drawings of the original sequence.
Aye, pirates, the only life for red-blooded men. If you're thinking of the future and you'd like to life will be, if you'd like to make a fortune for your throne. If you ever had a hanger run to sail a seven seas, then a pirate's life is just the life for you. Yo ho ho, like the herring you must go, so you might as well make up your mind to fly. If you'd like a share of plunder, if you care for blood and thunder, simply step right up and sign a dotted line.
By 1941, a basic story structure was completed. However, the onset of World War II stopped the development. After the war, Walt Disney brought Peter Pan back into development. Progress continued throughout the 1940s, including extensive concept art by renowned color stylist Mary Blair.
Finally, in 1950, he said, now's the time, let's do it. And they did. The Disney version of Peter Pan has another interesting first. It's the first time a boy was shown as Peter Pan. There had been a tradition from the time of Maud Adams on the stage, and right through Mary Martin, and in recent years, Kathy Rigby, Sandy Duncan, many others have done it, of women playing Peter Pan. But it was something that was broken, a tradition that was broken by Walt Disney by showing Peter Pan as a boy. Now, it's an animated boy, but it was really a boy's voice, and he was depicted as a boy, which is what he's supposed to be.
Walt assigned the character of Peter Pan to animator Milt Kahl.
I remember hearing Milt Kahl lecture about animation one time, and he said that one of the real challenges for him was animating weightlessness. Animating a character who is sort of floating in midair. Not flying, but just sort of floating. It's details like that that we in the audience are not supposed to think about. Of course, we shouldn't. We're involved in the story.
Young Bobby Driscoll was assigned to the role of Peter.
Where's that gun, Captain Hook? Why throw into that crocodile?
I guess Bobby Driscoll was an obvious choice for Walt to make because he was the resident juvenile star at the studio.
Driscoll had debuted in Song of the South, after which Disney cast him in several projects, including So Dear to My Heart, and as Jim Hawkins in Treasure Island.
Get on with it, girl.
My name is Whitney. Answer the door.
Wendy's enough.
Walt also didn't have to look far for the